and to use it to destroy or choose it not to survive. I mean, when you're in full active mode and channeling kind of like this godliness, this life force, this existence, the full power of existence, then you're creating and you're surviving and you're thinking rationally, because the human brain is like the receiver of God. You know? It's very Maimonides-esque. It's like kind of like Rambam.
So how many of the 13 principles would you believe in?
Oh, I have to review them again.
God is eternal. God is one. God is without human form.
Well, you know, actually, they sound like, it depends on how you understand God. God is eternal. If assuming, like, you go with more Spinozic view that God is the universe, like the rational functioning of the universe, then yes, God is eternal. You know, the universe is eternal. Or that God has no form. Yeah, I mean, if God is like not this being, but is kind of like seeping through all of existence as existence, then it has no form, you know? So you could explain them in a philosophical way that would go with a philosophical monotheistic vision that I think Spinoza set forth. So I don't think Spinoza's pantheism, because pantheism is like, this is God. It's not that this cup is God, it's that there is God in the cup, meaning like it was fashioned according to rational principles, and it lives and works according to rational principles with its weight and its matter and its size and its, you know, if I take it and put it here, so that there's a natural law governing the properties of this cup. And that's God.
Do you believe in a transcendent code of right and wrong? A code that transcends you or I?
Like, give me an example.
Well, the Torah, in the Orthodox or traditional view, comes from God. It's an eternal and transcendent document that transcends cultures, races, religions. This is
right.
Divine truth. And when the Torah says, keep the Sabbath, do not commit adultery, do not gather sticks on the Sabbath, do not wear linen and wool, this is God speaking, and this is a transcendent code that is beyond all opinions and feelings. Mm-hmm. So do you believe in any code of right and wrong that goes beyond individual thoughts and feelings, or is there only what you think is right and wrong?
No, I do believe there is an ethical code that goes beyond. I don't think it's Shabbat, because Shabbat is actually more particularistic to the Jewish people, but not to murder, not to steal, not to lie. I mean, there are absolutely, like the Ten Commandments are, I think, moral absolutes, and I definitely believe in moral absolutes, moral right and wrong. But I think the particularistic aspects of Judaism, like eating pork, is not an ethical right or wrong. It is a cultural right, a religious right or wrong. But I don't think it hurts people. You know, I don't think it harms people.
Is there anything that God commands you that you don't want to do? Like, you believe in not murdering, and you believe,
right.
even without God, you believe in not stealing.
Right.
Is there anything that you feel commanded by God that you wouldn't do naturally? Or do you
I think there are godly recommendations that I probably don't do, you know, whether it's like praying more, you know, not necessarily Orthodox prayer, but being more meditative. Right. That's still not like a thing to do. Right. Like such an active action. It's, you know, a little more contemplative. Mm-hmm. I think. No, I think I got it down. I think I'm good.
How do you determine what is right and wrong?
Wow. I think reason. Reason is a huge key. And that's, you know, what's rational for one person may not be rational for another. And here I have to say a lot of my ethics were influenced by Ayn Rand. I'm not an objectivist, but I did read a lot of her in my 20s. I mean, this is going to be a long interview getting into like these philosophical discussions. I think reason is a huge arbiter, at least in terms of the grand things. And the question that underlies ethics is, what does man require in order to survive? Mm-hmm. Man is a rational animal, so the tool that a man uses as opposed to an animal or an animate object to survive is his mind, is reason. Mm-hmm. So in surviving, in ethics, the question is, so what is right and wrong in man's quest for survival? And you can say, well, if a guy wants to cheat, well, he's surviving, but he's not surviving because he's not using the quality that is given to man to survive. It's stealing or cheating is evading reality, and it's evading the natural laws and functioning of the universe, which is that man succeeds by using his mind in creativity and productive endeavors. I mean, in that sense, I think the Constitution of America is a very ethical system. And it's entrenched with right and wrong, and the pursuit of happiness, I think, is also like a major question in what determines ethics. And you'll find that in pursuing happiness, you do have to follow a set of real ethical rules. It's not a free-for-all. It's not hedonism. But I don't think the particulars of Judaism, although very much inspired and very much responsible for spreading these moral absolutes, which is beautiful. But I think the particulars of Judaism aren't necessarily all conducive to what makes man happy.
Something like what makes you happy.
What makes me happy? Oh, I'm still figuring that out now. Well, being creative and following my heart and doing what I love. And I think productive work is and of course being in a quality relationship. Work and love are like the two things that I think contribute to happiness. The people who are probably most unhappy, they have either bad relationships or jobs that they hate, you know. And that's hard. I mean, they're both like, those are the curses of the garden. I mean, they're the hardest things to I think achieve in life, and it takes work, and it takes life skills and experience to A, earn the labor by the sweat of your brow, and B, raise children. You know, the two curses of the Torah, of the original sin. Being productive, happily in your work, and raising children, which I think is just a broader category for relationships.
Do you think that when you apply your reason, you come to wiser answers about the way that men and women should love and marry than Judaism?
I didn't really understand that question.
When you apply your reason, because when I asked you how you determine right and wrong, you talked about reason. Right. So when you apply your reason to questions of love and sex and marriage and dating, like you did in your book, do you think you come to wiser answers than Judaism does on those same questions?
I don't want to be like that proud or so full of hubris that I would say my wisdom, overrides the Torah. Like, no way, I don't think my wisdom is my wisdom. I'm culling from different works that I'm reading about relationships, and some of them are even Jewish works. I think Judaism is very wise in its handling of relationships and its code of ethics for marriage, the laws of family purity, and I think there's a lot of sense for women in holding out on sex until marriage. I think there's a lot of that could also sometimes cause damage. It depends on the person, and I think there's not one blanket way for matters that are more subjective than do not murder and do not cheat. I don't think there's one way for all people. I think there's a lot within ethics that takes into account people's individuality and individual temperaments and intellectual levels and cultural backgrounds. So issues of love and sex, there are not a lot of absolutes. Although there are wiser ways of definitely conducting yourself in relationships and proven techniques and proven skills and proven ideas.